Under the best conditions, garbage dumps are a growing problem for metropolitan areas. Land suitable for sanitary landfills simply is not available in crowded areas. In Tarrant County, the situation, the natural problems, have been compounded by petty politics and occasional corruption. The way it has been run in the past, the garbage business in Tarrant County has been a big business, and it has allowed some individuals to profit at the expense of the public health. I have just spent a month investigating the Tarrant County dump ground business and what ails it. I have found cases involving payoffs to public officials, and I have found influence peddling all the way to the top echelons of the county government. In two reports, Monday and Tuesday nights, we're going to examine some of these cases and the apparent reluctance of some county officials to do anything about them. This is Tommy Ayres reporting from Tarrant County for Channel 8 News.
We've reached a point where we have to think clearly and act clearly in the interests of the human species. It's not going to be enough, it seems to me, to point to the danger. It becomes important now to develop a plan for action. 10 years ago, a plan for action might have consisted of taming a few chimneys, of industrial chimneys or power plant chimneys, or taming the exhausts of automobiles. But this is not going to be enough now. It's not going to be enough to do this on the city level. It's not going to be enough to do it on the state level or on the national level. We're really talking about a world problem. The Atlantic Ocean, for example, is within about 20 years of becoming a dead body of water, which is to say the process of photosynthesis that supports life in the oceans is in danger of being altered and perhaps destroyed. And this in turn is part of the total chain of life. The fish help to support the people of Japan, for example. It becomes their main item of food. Now, the moment you begin to take out and destroy a principal source of food, such as fish, and then you suddenly discover that you're adding to the world's population by let's say 1 billion every few years, and then you're going to double the population supply in the world in 10 years, and yet cut the food supply in half, you can see how all these problems are interrelated. Now, if we examine, therefore, the most important problems facing all of us as human beings on this earth, not as Americans or as English or as Russians or as Chinese, I think we would find that the main problems we're facing are these: the problem of war and peace. Are we going to be able to keep the human race from destroying itself in a nuclear war? Second, the problem of overpopulation. Are we going to have too many people in relationship to the source of food and our resources? Third, the problem of environmental contamination, pollution of air and pollution of water. Now, if we examine problems such as these, we see that they all have one thing in common, which is to say they are world problems, but we do not have a world mechanism to deal with them.
When I was on a preaching mission in Africa several years ago, the Christians were increasingly finding it impossible to reach those people, and the Muslims were making 10 converts for our one. Now the situation has completely turned around, and the Christians are now making converts at the rate of 10 to 1 in our favor against the Muslims. And Africa, black Africa, is becoming increasingly Christian. The greatest Christian hope in the world is black Africa today.
On July 22, 1969, at the instruction of Tarrant County Commissioner Dick Andersen, the persons responsible for the operation of this sanitary landfill or garbage dump were told that if they continued to charge the public for dumping here, county-owned equipment and personnel would be pulled off the property. Now, 6 months later, it comes to light that the same citizens who pay tax dollars to help keep this place running are still paying for the privilege of dumping trash here. Commissioner Andersen told me he will ask the sanitation department to pull county equipment out of here and to keep it out. Unfortunately, many of the problems surrounding Tarrant County dumps aren't quite that easily resolved. In fact, the situation is not only physically bad, it is politically a little uncertain, too. Channel 8 investigative reporter Tommy Ayres has tracked down some almost unbelievable connections between politicians and private enterprises dealing with loaned credit cards, peddled influence, and countless thousands of tax dollars. His reports will begin on Monday afternoon on the expanded Channel 8 News Report. They'll be run both on the 5:30 to 6:30 newscasts and on the 10 o'clock newscasts, and they should prove quite interesting. Jerry Taff, Channel 8 News, reporting.
Paul L. Dunbar Community Learning Center here in Dallas is in the process of initiating a new preschool program. The program, when it gets underway a few days from now, will involve 32 youngsters, 16 3-year-olds and 16 4-year-olds. Today I talked to early childhood consultant Frances Allen about the screening process for the program.
We're going to take children of the most deprived families. This criteria was established by the people on the site at Paul L. Dunbar. That's the principal, the director, the people in the early childhood program. But they're considering taking the children that probably need it the most.
Can you describe the role of the parents in this program, or is there a role for the parents?
Yes, there's a definite role. We are convinced that parents must work with us. The child doesn't just stop his learning when the school bell rings in the afternoon. We want parents to know what we're trying to do with their children and to help us. We feel that their interest will make a big difference in the child's academic success. Now, 2 of the programs have a built-in parental involvement program where the teacher actually goes into the home, not as a social worker, but as a teacher, to show parents what they might use in the home to help teach their child some of the things that we're trying to do at school.